Hello there. My name is Mackenzie. Welcome back to my channel, and thank you so much for being here. Today we are going to do my March wrap up. So as always in my wrap ups this year, I am doing the wrap up with like zero statistics because I do have like monthly goal check-ins and quarterly stats and quarterly series check-ins, all of those other check-ins that I do. So I don't need to talk about stats here. So I just talk about the books, I give you a little bit of a summary, I tell you what I thought about them, and then we also talk a little bit at the end about my shame and the books that I purchased in the month. Really quickly before we talk about the books, let's just talk about March in general. I forget the order in which these videos are coming out, so if you haven't seen my previous videos / if I didn't talk about it in my previous videos, in early March, one of the outdoor kittens that we had been taking care of, she's not a kitten, she was a cat, because she ended up getting pregnant and having kittens on our porch. We ended up taking her inside, and it has been an endeavor with kittens in my house, with my other kittens. Everybody's separated, everybody's been safe, but I couldn't leave them outside. So we do have some of them going out to adoption, some of them going to a rescue who will then look further for adoption for them. So they're all taken care of, but that's why I've kind of been absolutely MIA everywhere. I'm pretty much non-existent on Instagram aside from my stories, if you've noticed. That also being said, I was in a really big reading slump. Mainly because I kind of got behind with some of the readathons that have been doing, and the books that I the books that I chose for them. I'll talk about it a little bit later on because one of those books is in this wrap up, but it has been kind of difficult having to read specific books and not being able to read exactly what I want to read whenever I want to read it. So I kind of went a little ballistic, maybe, and just mainly read manga this month. So that's what we could be expecting ahead. So let's just get started. First, we have Beach Read by Emily Henry. I did read this for the Readathon challenge for this month that just happened, which was March, for verbs, which is read. I am actually really glad that I got to read this Emily Henry mainly because so many people have so many opinions, and I was ready to have my own because I can't stand not being on the side of an argument, you know? Like, it's a heated debate. I want to be on a side. And officially, I really enjoyed this. I have no ratings. Again, Mackenzie. Hang on. Now, I really did enjoy this. I gave this a 4-star. I think that, you know how in fantasy novels that have a male main character, it's basically just him going through a very hard time in his life, trying to make changes and adjust and be either better or worse depending on the type of story that you're reading. And there just so happens to be fantasy and fantastical stuff happening in the background or like next to it as an element of. That's what I feel like Emily Henry's are, but in a female perspective. So hers are just a contemporary setting where the female is going through life, trying to fix things and go through traumatic events and trying to come out on top and be successful still and be happy out of all of it, really. And then there just so happens to be some romance that happens to ensue while she is also going through these traumatic events that are really difficult on her, and she is really needing a support system, and lo and behold, here is a romantic interest to provide that support system and be like strangely like grown up and easy about a lot of things and growing up around and with and through your significant other. It was really, really nice. It was really good. What really brings this down, and I think what brings down a lot of my books from like 4s to 5s, is like the atmosphere. Like they could kind of be like any old where, and I really wouldn't necessarily notice. Like it got the job done, but technically it's called beach read, so I kept imagining like a literal beach, but I kept forgetting that they were like in a cabin on like a lakefront, really. And so like, you know, it wasn't that descriptive. I just wasn't there with them. But everything else was really, really good. I really enjoyed the writing. I like how the plot, like I said, doesn't entirely revolve around the romance. However, the romance does have one of like my favorite, most ridiculous trope that I love, which is one person believes that they are rivals with the other person, and have like always been like challenging the other, and the other person doesn't take them seriously and all of that. And then the other person on the flip side believes them to be friends and is very confused by that person, but genuinely cares about them and possibly even loves them, or loves at first sight. And like, I love that dynamic. And it's what's happening here. And it was so perfectly executed because it feels so real in this real life contemporary setting. And that's what I tend to worry about in contemporary settings, is that, am I going to believe the reality of this situation? And I entirely do, because I get ridiculous in real life too, and I see other people get ridiculous in real life, and I can just imagine going through these situations and acting these things out and being this person, and I really, really did enjoy it. Now, while I feel like the characters were well written and it was a fun thing to follow them with, I also didn't necessarily feel that they were like clear, I guess, definitive heroes or heroines. Like they did the job, right? But like I do not remember their names. January and Augustus. Oh God. That's why. Never mind. I think I really did like the characters. I just hated their names, so I blocked them out, and I just didn't want to read about that anymore. Well, anyways, I really enjoyed this. I'm glad that I read it. I want to read more Emily Henry in the future once the giant TBR behind you gets smaller. But in this month, I barely helped that situation. Barely helped it, because I don't know if you guys know, but I tend to. What I do is not count my manga in my TBR. It doesn't count towards how many I have unread, and it does not count towards my series goals, and it does not count towards how many books that I buy. Like, it doesn't count. None of those things count, mainly because to me manga is so encompassing. I've been collecting Attack on Titan since I was in high school, and I still don't have them all. Like, it is such a feat that I don't want that pressure. I want my manga collecting to be a slow and gloriously paced and consumed activity. So slow and steady wins the race. We're not going to count any of those things. So by me reading majority of manga in March, I called it Manga Madness. I know more people are doing Manga Madness in April, but I was like, but March Madness happens in March. So by reading all of this manga, I've helped none of my numbers this month. We're not talking about numbers, but just be aware. Just know that about how I feel about the reading month. That even though I might have read quite a few little things here, it was not at all what I was hoping to achieve. And I really truly blame it on the last book that we're going to talk about, and I'm going to hype that shit up the whole video. First, I ended up picking up Wataku, Love is Hard for Otaku, Volume 1, because I ended up buying 4, 5, and 6 recently, and 6 is the Barnes & Noble edition, so I just love this cover. But if you Google, here, I'll put up the picture of the normal one, it's like almost even cuter because they're smiling. And if you know this manga series, he doesn't really smile. So I would have really loved a cover with him smiling. That would have been cute. Anyways, so I picked these up, so I decided that it was time for me to finish out the series because there's only up to 6. So I was going to finish it up, so I reread Wataku, Love is Hard Not for... Help me. Wataku, Love is Hard for Otaku, Volume 1. I have already read the first 2 volumes, and so then after that everything was a fresh read. I ended up giving the full series a 4-star, mainly because there were a few things that were like a little bit questionable and some things that I didn't necessarily get cultural wise, but I really enjoyed the love story. There was also a lot more of it felt disjointed, and while it kind of works as an overall manga arc, I guess, in a book, I don't know how it would necessarily work in a TV show. And I know that they did a season, I think just one season of the anime, and I think that that's why, because it works in book form. It does not necessarily work in an overall, why do I keep doing this? What does this represent? Anyways, moving on. I haven't even told you what this is about. Did I tell you what this was about? I absolutely did not. What is the point of my wrap-ups? Why are you here? Anyways, this is about January and Augustus. And January's dad died. And then she discovers, like, she loved her life, writes romances. Her parents were the perfect parents, the perfect married couple. And her dad dies suddenly. And then all of his dirty little secrets come out about how he's had an affair in a secret, house, and he's giving January the house, and he also gives her a little letter that she refuses to read. So she goes and she moves into the house because she's super poor, can't write because she has writer's block, and is basically traumatized right now. And on the first day, she goes and she basically gets in a fight with the neighbor, and lo and behold, who is that neighbor but her arch rival from writing school, Augustus Everett. That bitch. So Augustus Everett is out here like being depressed, and she's over here like screeching at him, and like, I love that because that's kind of my dynamic, and I really enjoy reading about it. So it was really sweet, cute. I don't need to say a review because I've already done this. They also Augustus also has writer's block. So then they decide to switch genres and like have a little competition to see who can write each other's genre better. And it's really good. Okay, and then this. So I'm not going to give you a series summary because I have 6 of them to talk to you about. So instead what I'm going to do is give you summaries of each volume and keep them as spoiler free as possible. In this volume, volume 1, we have our main character couple, which is Narumi and... who the fuck is this guy? Hirotaka. They're both basically like super nerdy gamer, Comic-Con type people. She really likes to read manga, specifically boy love, and he really loves video games. They were childhood friends, lost touch, and then they ended up working at the same company, and they ended up started to hang out. And she is lamenting to him in the first couple of panels about how she just got broken up with again because her boyfriend found out that she is an otaku, which is like a nerdy kind of person in Japanese. They use this term otaku for everything, from manga, for anime watchers, for cosplayers, for video gamers, all of that kind of like nerdy thing. Her ex found out that she was an otaku and then broke up with her because they see that in Japan as being a bad thing, and so she's like very sad, and he has been in love with her forever, and so tells her, well, what if you and I just dated, because then you could just be yourself, and I'd help you with your dungeons, and I'd help you with your work. And she's like, that's awesome, thanks. And that is just so pure and lovely, and like it's almost like they're dating out of convenience, but because like she consistently talks about how he is not her type and he is not someone that she finds attractive, and like they're just kind of together to be together. It's really like a weird setup, but it's so cute. So we have them and them getting together for the first time. And then we have their friends who are also a couple. And their friends are crazy. Their friends are a cosplayer. The girl is a cosplayer and the guy is a manga reader. And he likes Shonen Jump. He is also kind of like in the closet about his otaku-ness, and she is not. So it's like the same kind of setup here, but like switched a little bit and reversed. And they are together and have been together for a very long time, but they fight all the time. They are at it like cats and dogs for no good goddamn reason. And being in a relationship for as long as they have, I understand. But it's kind of a lot, and sometimes I'm like, oh no, I'm a little worried about you. And I think Narumi is sometimes too, but they all hang out, and it's really just like slice of life stuff of them just going to work, talking about things, trying to hide secrets of them being an otaku, trying to hang out after work, that kind of thing, and it's really, really sweet. A lot of it also focuses on Hirotaka trying to figure out how to be in a relationship because he's never done that before. And so like there are moments of Narumi being sad and upset and he's like, I don't even know what to do. And so like he's talking to the other couple who's been a couple for a long time, and they're kind of like helping him through it, how to approach this relationship with Narumi, specifically for Narumi. And it's really, really sweet, and I really enjoy it, and I really love the friendship dynamic because they all really support and love each other, and that's really sweet. Oh, it's so cute. Next, we have volume 2. So in this volume, this is the other main couple that we have been talking about. In this one, we're focusing a lot on their relationship. So they met in high school. They were both captains of volleyball teams, and they were kind of like fighting back then, like rivalry a little bit back then as well. And so we get those scenes. We get the scenes of them kind of falling in love and like them starting to be together after he graduates high school, which is a little bit weird. I'm not gonna lie, she's like a year younger than him, but they end up being together and staying together, and it's really cute and it's really sweet. So we get that, and we get a little bit of them and their dynamic in the present as well. We also get introduced to our third couple, which is Hirotaka's younger brother, Naoya, and he also has like a little relationship thing happening with another student. So he's in college and he has a classmate that he is kind of talking to a little bit and running into, and at first he believes that classmate is a boy, and also I believed that classmate was a boy. Because of how much we talk about boy love, you would have assumed that that other classmate was a boy, but nay, it wasn't. Don't go getting excited, because as much as this whole series talks about boy love and like queer things, it absolutely has no queer representation at all, which is also like a huge fucking bummer for me. Just want you to all know this. This has a lot of references, like everything is referenced. And in the manga panels, oh, that's a bad page to show. So like there's like manga panels, right? And then down here there's like tiny text, which could also be a reference, which is also all canon. So at the end of each thing there's translation notes, and so you can go back and forth and it'll tell you what they're referencing. So you don't necessarily have to know everything that they're talking about to enjoy this series. If you are generally just a geeky, nerdy person and reading about people who are manga readers, video gamers, nerds in general being in relationships sounds fun to you, then you're probably already going to get a lot of the references. And if you don't, those translation notes are in there, which is really, really cool. Volume 3. So now that we have been introduced to all three of our main couples, this is now Naoya and Ko. Now that we have been introduced to all of our main couples, this volume really focuses on them kind of developing those relationship ties between their significant other and then their friends, and defining certain boundaries and how to talk to each other, mainly with Hirotaka and Narumi. Mainly with those two, because we really already have a lot of background and stability and comfort in the status quo with Hanako and Taru, which are this couple. So we already have a lot of stability with them, so we're really just have been working on the relationship between Hirotaka and Narumi. I think what's also really cute is as we work on their relationship and them like doing little dates and things like that, we get a lot of them really falling more in love with each other. So like I said earlier, Hirotaka has always really been in love with Narumi, and that's kind of stated in the first manga. And these ones also have 2 mangas within them, technically. These are like tiny omnibuses. So each volume that I'm holding has 2 mangas within it. So in the first manga, it tells us that Hirotaka really has liked her forever. And in this one, we're really getting like more of a development of them in a relationship and how to talk to each other, but also Narumi falling more in love with Hirotaka, which is really sweet to see. Then we have Love is Hard for oh my gosh, why am I saying it again? Then we have volume 4, which we have these 2 back on the cover again, and that is mainly because the first manga part is mainly focused on these 2 relationships, developing it further, taking further steps, and us being able to follow them specifically, but also the side characters around them, and that kind of like slice of life situation when you're talking to your friends about what's been happening in your life. And I just love that. And then the back half focuses again on Naoya and Ko, and them also developing their relationship and how they kind of view their relationship and how the other views their relationship, and the beginnings of actually communicating about that, because Ko is still very shy and socially like struggles to communicate. Then we have volume 5, which comes in this very pretty purple color, and then we have Naoya and Ko on the front again. In this one, we see the resolution of both of these plot lines in the first manga set, so I can't really talk too much about it. And in the second half, we see more of all of them actually getting together and meeting, which is really cool and really sweet. And then in the final volume, we have the wrapping up of all of the little plot lines and little things that we had going. We have all of them meeting and being together in the same room because they had played video games before, so they had been meeting virtually, but now they're actually meeting physically, and all of them really just being close and being good friends. So this whole series was, like I said, a 4-star series. I really enjoyed everything that they talked about, and like I said, there was a few things that I just didn't get and didn't like the fake out gay couple. That was just rude. So anyways, I really did enjoy it, and that's the review. So after reading Wataku, which was arguably perfect because it was a completed series that I could binge and be done with and feel fulfilled with, but still it be manga and I could read it really quickly, I felt a gaping hole in my heart about what to do next, what to read next. I still wasn't ready for a novel, and I didn't know what to do. So I decided to pick up Spy Family because I had volumes 1, 2, and 3, and I ended up picking volumes 4, 5, and 6 up. And I don't know if I did that in February or in March. I don't think I did them in March. But I had all 1 through 6. So I think that I am going to do a like series review maybe, or maybe I'll do a manga versus anime. Maybe I'll do that on Spy Family. So expect that coming up. But for now, let's talk about the first 3 volumes. So in volume 1, we're introduced to our main character, who is a spy named Twilight. Twilight is his code name. We do not know his real name. He lives in a world where Westalia and Ostania are like in a cold war, basically. So there's like spies and like espionage, trying to find out each other's secrets and trying to destabilize the government of the other country. So Twilight works for Westalia and is currently placed in Ostania to infiltrate and gain secrets and intel to pass on to his superiors at Wise in order to bring about world peace. So his new mission that he has been given is to get close to one of Ostania's political leaders or political influencers and potentially kill them. He doesn't know, but he just needs to get close and gain information. And the way that he's going to do that, because this person that he's trying to get close to is a recluse, so this person doesn't come out for anything aside for whatever reason, his children's school affairs. So now Twilight, Agent Twilight, super spy, has to get a wife and a child in order to enroll that child into the super elite school, Eden Academy. This is all about him first getting the mission and then acquiring a child. And talking us through this process, how as a spy he's always worked alone, and bringing on basically civilians is a bad idea and this is dangerous, and he ends up putting Anya in danger and he feels guilty and he doesn't know what to do. And so basically he makes it his goal as to get to a good place in the mission. To fulfill his mission, he has to be a good father to Anya. And in order to be a good father, he has to provide things like safety and love and care in order for her to grow up to want to like school, to want to be playing a good role in their mission. So this is all about him acquiring Anya, and then also figuring out that he does in fact need a wife. He cannot get away being a single dad going to Eden because it is an elite academy and they expect both parents to attend a meeting and be around in their child's life. So he finds another person. Before we get into the wife, let's go back and talk about Anya real quick, because Lloyd just goes, Twilight ends up taking on the identity of Lloyd Forger. So as Lloyd Forger, he goes to just any old orphanage that looks like it might not keep good records, finds a child that can write and looks decent enough and the proper age. He then finds Anya, who is a telepath, who has been experimented on by some nameless company. We have no idea. And then just like she escaped possibly, and or was just thrown back into the world. Who knows? I have theories, but who knows? So anyways, then Lloyd has to go find a wife. And for whatever reason, the first woman that he kind of runs into that is like appropriately aged and not wed and is kind of attractive, he just runs into her and she happens to be an assassin. So they're in Ostania. She is an assassin for a nameless shopkeeper who helped her support her brother when they were young, because they lost their parents, and she has a younger brother, so the shopkeeper helped provide for them, and in turn taught her how to kill, and has been killing for him like ever since. Just keeps doing it. So who knows who this shopkeeper is? Does Yor actually work for Ostania, or does she work for Westalia? Who knows? I have theories, but who knows? So it is about Lloyd getting Anya, getting Yor, bringing them together, creating some semblance of a family unit, and then going on to their family interview, where things get taken a little bit more personally than I think Twilight was anticipating. I think Twilight anticipated to not have to feel feelings while creating this family dynamic. And he is being confronted with the brutal truth that that is not the case. He cannot do it. He has feelings for the ladies in his life. This is a great series. This is a great start to a great series. Excellent. Then we go into volume 2. And here's where it gets a little bit kind of, not slice of life, but really just like, okay, we've introduced the mission, now it's time to go into all of the little things that happen that will lead up to the grander scheme of things. So I'm not going to give an entire plot for this one because I feel like a lot of that is a little bit spoilery, but what I can say is that we get a little bit more of a backstory on Yor. We get a little bit more fun family dynamics. We get Yor and Anya having more of a development and dynamic, and then we also get Anya going to school for the first time, being introduced to how she will inevitably help the mission, and as a telepath, she is reading the mission from Lloyd. So she, as a 5-year-old, is receiving the mission from Lloyd's mind, and then is interpreting it in her 5-year-old brain and trying her damnedest to be of help. But she can't get over the fact that the target's son is a douchebag. Anya also knows that her mom, her fill-in mom, is an assassin. So she knows about both of their secrets, and she knows that all of them are keeping their secrets from each other, which is hysterical because she's 5, and so like sometimes she doesn't realize that it's a secret. And then we have the introduction to Yor having a brother who will be more of a main character, I guess, later, because Yor's brother is part of the secret police for Ostania to root out spies. So there's dynamic there with him and Lloyd, but there's also like a creepy incest thing, and I hate that. But the fight between him and Lloyd in general is really cool because Lloyd knows that Yori, the brother, is a secret agent. And Yuri doesn't know, but he wants Lloyd to be a spy because he doesn't want Lloyd to be with Yor because Yuri wants to be with Yor. It's gross, but that's the play. I really enjoy this. It's definitely just like a comedy, like a spy comedy. So there's a little bit of action and adventure, but mainly it's so funny. It's just comedy. It's great. So I really enjoyed the first 3 volumes. I gave all of them a 4-star also because I feel like some things could be done longer and taken out and dragged out just a little bit longer in the manga. I feel like having watched the anime first, I get a sense of like taking longer time with the story, and with the manga it's just go because there's not really much that is being discussed on each page. It's just picture, which is great, but it speeds up the story. But I did really enjoy it, so 4 stars for all of those. The last book that I've been talking about literally this whole time because I could not bring myself to read anything else. This was the book that I was behind the most on, aside from the Starless Sea, which I'm just giving myself the space to breathe with that one. This one is so short. This is The Preserve by Ariel S. Winter. This is about a sci-fi dystopian where there are so few humans and things are getting a little bit tensiony. So the AIs create these preserves for humans where it's only humans there and they just run their little government and everything else with no AIs around. So there's so many AIs. And all of a sudden in one of the preserves for the first time ever, there has been a murder. Dun dun dun. Super cool, right? Okay. This is a cop procedural. I do not care for those unless they are done well. This detective, this hard-boiled detective, he's not a good, no, I don't like it. We have our main character who is Jesse Lofton of the police preserve. The Preserve Police. I got 49 pages into this, and this was really just a lot about him and his family, and how, like, I don't know why, but he seems to hate his wife. I don't, like, she didn't seem awful. She just was there. And, like, his daughter was rambunctious, and he seemed to not have the energy for her. And, like, he was kind of like, oh, I wish I had the energy for them. And I'm like, but do you, though? Because you're still doing this job. And then, like, I don't care that this person died. This person died, and he was like a cyborg, so he had some like robot parts, which was kind of like taboo. But also he was just basically a drug dealer. He was just making drugs on the preserve. Where's the that's not dystopian enough. It's not sci-fi enough. I don't care enough. And I trudged through 49 pages. I could not. It wasn't happening. I couldn't do it. I'm done with it. I'm done. Done with it. I'm done with it. Okay. That concludes all of the books that I read in March. A lot of them manga. And I ended up DNFing this book, which has set me free. I'm now reading an actual novel. I am, after filming this, going to pick up probably The Starless Sea, continue that actual novel, and just keep going. Because you know what? Why am I gonna struggle through things? For why? Why? If I'm not enjoying it, we're done with it. That's enough. What is this? There's too many books in the world, and there's too many books on my shelf. Okay, anyways, that was the wrap-up. Now it is time to talk about the books that I purchased in the month of March. Ring the bell.
Shame.
Alright, so, technically, right? Okay, we started earlier in this video, and I was talking about how manga and possibly even graphic novels don't even really count because they are just a different, like, variation of storytelling. The arcs are so long, they could go on forever. Who needs that kind of pressure? So we'll talk about some things a little bit later after my technical really only haul. Okay? Okay, so I did buy 2 books. Unfortunately, neither of them were on sale, and that's a big, like, shame on me. But they are just singles. They're singles, Mackenzie. They're standalones. So I bought Akweke Amezi's Pet because I was really interested in this. It was actually relatively cheap anyways because it's paperback, which I really enjoy for novellas. Books and Lala turns me on to so many books, and it takes me forever to actually acquire them, but here I am actually acquiring it, and I'm really excited to read it. Monstrillo by Gerardo Samano Cordova. Look at this. Look at this creepy cover. So, Sylvia Moreno Garcia posted on her Instagram that she was reading this book, and then I wanted to also read this book. It's a Regina George moment.
Saw Katie Heron wearing army pants and flip-flops, so I bought army pants and flip-flops.
Sylvia Moreno Garcia has me by the throat. If she likes it, if it is informing her writing, maybe I will love it also. Now, we're going to talk about some other things. These don't technically count, and these don't go towards my TBR total. So if you're one of those people who's about to get technical on me, I'm getting technical on you and telling you that these don't count. But we're going to talk about them anyway, because why not? I want you to know. Okay, so this is a series that I have been reading for the last 3 volume sets. Where are they? Are they over there? They're over there. This is the Teen Titans set that is written by Kami Garcia and illustrated by Gabriel Piccolo. They first did a Teen Titans Beast Boy, Raven, and Beast Boy Meets Raven, which was the first 3 volumes of this kind of collection. And now we're getting Robin. So we have 2 Robins on this cover. We have Damian Wayne and we have Dick Grayson. This is a Barnes & Noble exclusive, which includes special content. And I don't know what that special content is, but I'm very excited about it. I think it has something to do with the next one. So I have this one now, and I'm very excited to read it, to add it to the collection. And then, I don't know if you know, but Barnes & Noble had their first sale on manga ever. It was a buy one, get one 50% off, which is their general sale that they have on most of their novels, but not ever on their manga. And your girl went in. And I'm not going to hear any lip about it, okay? So, first, I don't know if you could tell what they are from this way, but this is the first and second black editions of Death Note. So this is volumes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I really like these sets of manga because it feels very full. I end up only counting them as one book because it feels, like I said, this feels much fuller than an actual manga, which I always end up feel guilty about counting anyway. So I really like these sets. I've always wanted the Death Note set in the black edition covers because it's just so goth. And really, Death Note is so goth. I watched the anime forever ago and have rewatched it quite a few times. I really do enjoy it, and I entirely am not going to sit here and say that there is reasonable misogyny or like it's okay or it's not overwhelming sometimes, because it absolutely is. But I think that on a certain level that is also what makes this character hateable, and that we are not supposed to actually like him or want to be like him. And I think that's why it's there. Then I picked up the next couple of ones in Tokyo Ghoul. I've already read volumes 1 and 2, so I picked up volumes 3 and 4. I do have videos for both Tokyo Ghoul 1 and 2 where I compare them to the anime, and I'll have to go back and watch those videos as well, because when I read these ones I'm probably going to do the same. I think it's really enjoyable to go back and forth and see what they change and which one kind of does the story a little bit better or worse, because where with books it's almost always the book did it better. In an anime, I feel like the manga is so exactly and precise that sometimes the manga is better, but sometimes the anime does it way better. Like, fight scenes are way better, they're much smoother, certain storylines are drawn out, some things are replaced or changed, so it's always fun to see what the difference is and why that difference may exist. I wanted to get a Junji Ito because his books are hella expensive because they're only in hardcover, which is a power move and I respect it, but it's expensive. So I got this one. It is Love Sickness, and I also wanted to pick up a kind of like story set. So we have a couple of different stories in this manga, so I figured that would give me a good like briefing on how much I like Junji Ito and if I'm really going to want to pick up one of the more expensive ones, if you catch my drift. So I don't really know exactly what this is about, but it looks like there are possibly 2 stories in this. This volume collects 10 stories showcasing horror master Junji Ito in peak form, including the strange Hizuraki siblings and the Rib Woman. Terrifying! Those names are just horrifying. Oh no, I saw something icky. So I wanted to get this one, and then I was like, okay, so I have to get something else also, right? Well, here's the thing about me. I don't know if you know this about me. I've been watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure for like years now. We got stuck on part 3, the Stardust Crusaders, because to me that's peak JoJo. That's the perfect JoJo, honestly. Truly perfect JoJo. However, Stardust Crusaders also gets, I feel like, the most problematic for no good goddamn reason. It's so misogynist, it's a little pedophilic, and like creepy for no good reason. It was written, I think, in the 80s. It was way back when. Anyways, it is still my favorite JoJo because after that is part 4 and it's written in the 90s and things change and my JoJo is no longer a big buff man. Why? I mean, he's still a guy and he's still the same age as the previous JoJo was and the previous JoJo before that was, and all of those JoJos were really big and buff and like all of a sudden he shrank. Sad. It was a sad day for JoJo fans. Anyways, I have always wanted to collect the manga sets. There's so many, so I decided that I would start with my favorite one, which was Stardust Crusaders, obviously. So here's the thing though. So in the shelves at Barnes & Noble, they have all the JoJos and they're all like, it's part 1, part 2, part 3. Part 3 is the blue one, so I go to that one. I go to the blue section. And they're all in order, you know, like, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way down, And so I go to the front and I'm like, 1 is gone. It starts with 2. 2, 3, 4. I'm fucked, right? But I had picked up, so I walked away. I picked up this one. I go back to this one. Let's just make sure. And if it's not there, then maybe I'll pick up another Tokyo Ghoul or something. And lo and behold, there it is. Volume 1, hiding in between 3 and 4. Like a star, like a hidden gem. It's so exciting. And look at these. And papers. Do you have end papers? Oh, hey, yeah, you do have end papers. That's dope. I love that. I love end papers. That's my favorite thing in books. Okay, so I'm very excited about my little haul here. I'm very excited that most of those are manga and they don't add to my TBR total. So that's very exciting. So if I read 1, 2, and I bought 2, and we're only counting novels here, folks, then this month was a wash. Good job, but I did defeat my reading slump, which is always the best thing. So, this video has gone on for far too long. I know it's because I've been filming in the time that it took my husband to take a nap, wake up from his nap, and now I am tired from speaking. So this was the wrap up. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!
I don't wanna let myself down myself.